Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you in ASP.NET MVC using Web API how to insert the selected radio button value into SQL Server. And here we got the output of that code. The header tags, 4 radio button controls and 1 button control. Now let's select the button control green. Now before insert this value green into database, let's check our database table. Let's execute the colors table. Execute. Right now this colors table contains 0 rows. Let's insert the color green, create. See, here we got a message green. Now this time let's select the orange, not the orange, red, create. And we got a message red here. Let's check the database. We have inserted 2 colors, one is the green and red. Let's execute the color table, execute. And here we got the results of this color table. Green and red has been inserted successfully into this colors table. We have used to insert the selected radio button value into SQL Server database using Web API in MVC. That's it. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before writing the coding part in MVC Web API, first we'll create a new table in SQL Server Management Studio. I'm expanding the root folder as well as the databases. The new DB is my user database. I want to create a new table in this database. Let me expand this new DB also as well as the tables folder. Right click the new DB database, new query. Now let's create a table. Create table. The table name is colors. The color ID, which is int type, not null. I'm adding primary key as well as I'm adding the identity column 1, 1. Color name and varchar. The size of the color name is 50. That's it. Let's execute to create the table. Execute. And here we got a message command completed successfully. Let's refresh the tables in this new DB database. Refresh. And here we got the colors table is added to our tables folder. Let's browse the table. Right click the colors table. Select top 1000 rows. And here we got the results of this color table. Right now this table contains 0 rows. Now let's insert the values into this table using radio buttons in MVC Web API. For this video tutorial, I'm creating a new MVC Web API application. Go to File, New Project. And from the web templates, I'm selecting ASP.NET Web Application. The .NET framework I'm using 4.6.1. The application name is Insert Radio Button Web API MVC is the project name. Click OK. And from the templates, I'm selecting Web API. Click OK. And the project is created successfully. Let's close this default window. Open Solution Explorer. Now in this project, first I'm adding ADO.NET entity model. Right click the project name. Add ADO.NET entity data model. I'm selecting that one. Let's give the model name, which is, click OK. And from the model contents, I'm selecting the first option, EF Designer from database. Click Next. Let's create a new connection. I'm adding my SQL server name. After adding SQL server name, now I'm selecting the database name. The table we have created in the new DB database. So I'm selecting this new DB database. Test connection is succeeded. OK. And here we got our connection string, and the connection string name is the new DB entities, and I'm saving this connection string in the web.config file. Click next. Now let's select the table from the selected database. I'm expanding the tables folder as well as the DBO. The table name is the colors. I'm selecting that one. Click finish. And here we got our entity model is added to our project. After adding entity model, next open Solution Explorer. Let's minimize the references folder. And notice here the colors model is added to our project. Now the next step, let's add a class in this models folder. Right click the models folder, add class. The class name is COL class add. And here we got our class. Now in this class I'm adding only the public properties. Public int. We have two columns in our table. One is a color ID and color name. Let's create two properties. Color ID get set public string color name get set. After adding the properties in this class, the next step, open Solution Explorer. Let's create a new API, web API template to this controllers folder. I click the controllers folder, add, select the controller, and select the web API to controller empty, add. The controller name is colors, click add. And here we got our API controller colors. Now first let's add the namespace, the models, using my project name is insert RB web API MVC dot models folder. After that, in the API controller, I'm adding public HTTP action result colors insert is a method. Now in this method I'm adding the class name COL class. This class name, let's create an object CC. After that, now let's add our connection string entity, which is a new DB entities, and is equals to new DB entities, and it dot the entity colors dot add method, and the add method takes the color entity. So new, I'm adding the table name, which is a color. Now let's add the property color ID is equals to CC this object dot color ID, comma color name is equals to CC dot color name, semicolon. Now let's add the save changes and return OK. And that's it. We have added the coding part in this API. Now let's consume this API, web API, into the MVC controller. So for that we need a MVC controller. So open Solution Explorer. Now let's add the controllers. Right click the controllers, add controller. Now this time I'm selecting MVC file controller empty, add. The controller name is color insert is the controller name add. And here we got our controller also. Let's add the namespace using insert rb the project name dot models semicolon. After that we are inserting the data, so we require the action result, the post method. So let's copy this one. This one is the http post method. In the action result index, I am adding a class name col class cc is an object. And now to consume the web API, for that I am using http client class, http client. So we require the using system.net.http client. The HTTP client namespace belongs to this namespace system.net.http. HTTP client HC is equals to new HTTP client. After that we require the URL of this API controller. So to get the URL, let's browse this controller, API controller, Google Chrome. And here we got the output of the default home page. This is a domain name, but we require the API URL of this domain. So let's add the / API / our API controller name is the colors controller. This API controller, the controller name is colors. Let's add that one, colors, enter. And here we got the output of this URL web API. The request resource does not support HTTP method get because we are posting the data, so I'm using HTTP post. So don't bother about this output. We require this web URL only. Stop debugging. Switch to the MVC controller. Let's start the coding part here. HC dot HTTP client object dot base address is equals to new URI. The URI method takes a string as a parameter between double quotes. The URI string. Let's add this one. Copy this one and paste here, semicolon. After that, after we got the web URL, now let's insert the value variable. Let's see, variable insert color is equals to let's see dot post as JSON async. And the post as JSON async takes a T, which is a model class name. Make sure don't give any gaps here. So method takes two parameters. One is a request URI, which is a string, and the class object value. Between double quotes, I'm adding our controller name, web API controller name, comma, the second one is the class value, the object name, which is a CC, semicolon, insert color dot weight method. After we insert, we need to save the data. For that I am declaring another variable, save color is equals to insert color dot result if save color dot is success status code. If the selected radio button value is inserted successfully in our database, I want to display the message. For that I'm using viewBag dot message is equals to cc dot the color name. That's it, we have done the complete coding part. Now we require the last one, the view page of this action result index. Now before adding the index view page to the project, we must build the application first. Build solution. And here we got a message, build succeeded. Let's close this output message box. Now highlight the action result index, right click the mouse, add view. The view name is index. The template I'm selecting, I want to insert the record, so I'm selecting the create template. The model class, I'm adding the color insert web API MVC. The data context class, which is a new DB entities. Click add. And here we got our index view page. Now the first thing, I'm adding center tag. This one, C. Let's add this center closing tag. At the bottom, I'm changing the header tag. Instead of index, how to insert selected radio button value into SQL Server database. MVC Web API. After that, I'm adding horizontal line. And now, notice here when we have chosen the create template, automatically it created the editor for HTML helper, which is a text box control. But we are using the radio buttons, not the text box control. So I'm just commenting this editor for and validation message for. Let's add the radio button. Open toolbox. In the HTML, let's add the radio button control. And I'm adding the name property. Now in this name, I'm adding the HTML helper to add the model at HTML dot name for model dot color name. Let's add the value is equals to, the color is red. Copy this one. I'm changing the radio ID to, the value of the radio 2 is blue. 3, 4. The value is green, orange. Just for the demo purpose, I have added only 4 radio buttons with some values red, blue, green and orange. Now the last one, we have the view back message. Let's copy this one to display the message. After the button control, I'm adding at viewback.message. and this one, copy this one and paste here, because the center tag is above these curly braces. Now the error has gone. That's it, we have done the complete coding part. We got the ADO.NET entity model, model class, web API controller, MVC controller, and the index view page. Now before run this application, the most important, we have to change the controller name in our project. Open Solution Explorer. In the project we have the app_start folder, expand that one, route config.cs file, open that one, and notice the controller which is the home. Let's delete that one. Our controller name is color insert. I'm adding MVC controller, and the action result is the index only, which is this page. That's it. Now it's time to check the results. Google Chrome, and here we got the output of that code. The header tags, 4 radio button controls and 1 button control. Now let's select the button control green. Now before insert this value green into database, let's check our database table. And let's execute the colors table. Execute. Right now this colors table contains 0 rows. Let's insert the color green, create. See, here we got a message green. Now this time let's select the orange, not the orange, red, create, and we got a message right here. Let's check the database. We have inserted 2 colors, one is the green and red. Let's execute the color table. Execute, and here we got the results of this color table. Green and red has been inserted successfully into this colors table. We have used to insert the selected radio button value into SQL Server database using web API in MVC. That's it.